Shalom, shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Call Loyam, Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai, Hashem Chakodesh Rakathon. Double honors to apostles and elders, a great millstone, who rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and sincerity, as well as risking their lives, as well as their freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord, willingly, this is an edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of the other nations, which appear like the other nations, but subscribe to this truth. To you, I say shalom. It's Brother Yahweh Sap out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. And looking for something to do a video on, and through the spirit this article came to me, and it moved me through the spirit because when you actually understand what this article is about, so I'm gonna bring out certain points. I'm not gonna read the whole article, but I got a few different articles to line things up to prove a point. And Lord willingly, this is edifying. I cannot pronounce this person's name, but as you can see, she's a Moabite. So Xueli Abbing, the abandoned baby who became a Vogue model. It says when Xueli was a baby, her parents left her on the ground outside an orphanage. In China, albinoism is seen by some as a curse, and that's the spirit. Because although Moab, which we refer to them as Moab or Moabites, because that's the biblical nationality that the Most High deemed them. All this China and Chinese, this is concepts and constructs of Esau, Edom, you know what I mean, which is the so-called white man or the red man that, but the Hebrew Edomite. But nonetheless, because that's an Eastern concept, you know what I mean? And that's even shown in nature, you know what I mean? When you see dogs, although human beings, like I remember my brother used to breed pit bulls, of course, with the all white pit or the all black, well, nobody's all white or nobody's all black. Because, like, so even with them puppies, like, their coat might have been, albino, but, you know what I mean? You can see through their skin to a certain extent. So, but with those type of dogs, they were considered rare because out of those dogs you can get different coats. So that's why they were different. They were considered rare, but at the same time, that's considered albinoism. I mean, and I'll never forget the mother dog really used to fuck those dogs up. You know what I mean? Certain animals in the animal kingdom will actually try to kill albino because at the end of the day, most things on the planet, creatures, better yet, most creatures are actually have pigmentation, or you know what I mean. You don't really see a all white chimpanzee, and if you do, it's probably very very rare because of the fact that the mother would probably kill it. You know what I mean. Uh, the same with like rats, all white rats and whatnot. Those are deformities. So we'll bring a little bit of this article out. The rare genetic condition causes a lack of pigment, which makes Zuli's skin and hair very pale and also makes her extremely sensitive to sunlight. You know what I mean? And that's why those red Hebrew Edomites were hidden in the caves, because that's why their skin actually is affected by the sun, proving to you who the fuck these people is. And like I said, this was just right on time and through the spirit. But looking different led Zuli to her modeling career. Now, age 16, she has graced the pages of Vogue and fronted campaigns for top designers. So it made me, and these some images. If you really want to read this bullshit, you can, because this is a Moabite, mind you. So I ain't about to go into detail, but this is about, I mean, she's a Moabite. You can see the Moabite features on her right there. But so it made me. I tried to do some research, but it was kind of difficult. But it lightweight got my spirit going. So I tried to go check out some information. Bear with me for a second. So it led me to go look up who was the creator or founder of Vogue, and it says Arthur Baldwin Turner. And when you go into that name, because I kind of like trace some of the family tree, it's like how they said how Trump name changed, and certain people, to hide their background, they literally changed their name or the spelling and the pronunciation of it. So that's how this man's name go. And when you go check him out, you'll find out he was like the son of two wealthy parents, So they were already established in this new world because he was born, I can't remember the exact date, but I know it was like in the 1800s, like the late 18. No, I think the late 1800s was when he founded Vogue. I'm not, what I mean, see, like I was reading it, but I might have another article, but like I said, not to make this too entirely long. It says, founding of Vogue, in Vogue, weekly high society journal created by Arthur Baldwin Turner for New York City's social elite and covering news of the local social scene, traditions of high society, and social etiquette. It also reviewed books, plays, and music. So I don't know if it's gonna go into when he was born. That's who became the editor in 1988. It was founded in 1892. I forgot when he was born though. So this is how old this is, and this, um, magazine has always been used as a platform to push what these elites deem as, you know, um, upper echelon or what's happening or what's good. So of course, who's behind Vogue? Esau E. See, Esau E is the one that perpetuates and tells society what's actually fashionable, what's beautiful, what's not beautiful. That's why you got these social constructs of white and black. When you go into the definition of these words, that's really witchcraft because they use the word to label, a particular people. So there, and when you actually see how it actually worked out, words have power. Words have power. So man, that's why they get so upset about being called the wicked. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you know, because words have power. I mean, like when you look into the thought process behind being called a snake. I remember telling some people in the past, you know, when John and Yahweh Shah was basically calling the Pharisees snakes and vipers, he was literally cussing them out. Because even to this day, if you call a person, when we got all these colorful words we could use to be profane or to be not cursed, but to like be using profanity, rude speech, but put it like that. Um, you know, if you call somebody a snake today, it'll still offend them. You know, to show you the power of words. And like I say, at the end of the day, of course, these devils would make themselves appear like that's beautiful or fashionable. When in actuality, like I said, even in China, that's considered a curse. They try to put it as, or they say to some it's considered a curse. But, it's always been frowned upon. I went to school with people that was albinos, and they always was treated different and looked at differently because it is something different. I got another article. I think this is probably gonna be the last one. And then, what I mean, when you go into understanding of what the mark of Cain was, this is because basically that mark of Cain was a physical mark, And it's funny because when we sit up there and our gospel is, Esau Edom is actually cursed with leprosy. He's just a clean leopard because at one point in time when you go into Leviticus and it talks about leprosy, you had people that actually were unclean leopards and you had clean leopards. I mean, that's why they had to be actually put away from the rest of the people because it was like contagious. But then you also had the Most High make clean leopards, and Cain was the first one. Um, and it's mentioned in Salakia. It's mentioned in Genesis 4:15. So it says, I'm gonna read this, then I'm gonna actually get the count. It says, after Cain killed his brother Abel, Yahweh declared to Cain, now you are under a curse and driven from the ground, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you work the ground, it will no longer yield its crops for you. And take the time to look at how the earth under this man's rulership is not yielding what it's supposed to yield. That's why you got people in the state that there is physically. That's why they got to make all these supplements and you got to take these vitamins because the earth is not yielding its increase, its fullness. Because this man, it tells you in the book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. When you go into Malachi chapter 1, it tells you about it tells you exactly who the wicked is. You have wicked people on the earth. 2/3 of our people are considered and deemed wicked. But you have a nationality of people, a group of people that's just strictly wicked. And you seeing their wickedness right now play out. I mean, it's so many articles right now. I was just listening to a brother, not to digress, but I was just listening to the brothers from Mississippi that the elder Kazak, and I forgot the other brother name, but literally they were saying how you could make a video based on some homosexuality or based on this stab and jab or anything. And like I said, they was taking out my videos and I'm reading articles out of they publications. They striking me and I'm like, damn, how am I'm trying to appeal them lightweight, like, because I'm like, I know they gonna appeal. I mean, they go have to lift this. Like, how you gonna strike me for reading? I mean, and this wasn't like I just sat down and came up with my own 2 cents. I'm reading out of articles talking about people actually getting sick and having adverse reactions, and they still struck me. So that's how you know this man is the devil. Then, like I say, I was just listening to one of the brothers. He was sitting up here talking about they saying 144 million people actually got vaccinated. They just said a couple weeks ago that Biden said 200 million people got vaccinated. So that's a difference of by a lot of millions of people. That's showing you this man is a devil and a liar. You know what I mean? Like, at the same time they talk about how these numbers are so good of all these people getting vaccinated, but I was just following information they were saying people have actually slowed down. You got a lot of people that actually took the first dose of the vaccine and didn't go back to get the second. But not to digress, Salaki, it says. When you work the ground, it will no longer yield its crops for you. You will be a restless wanderer or a vagabond on the earth. In response, Cain lamented, my punishment is more than I could bear. Today you are driving me from the land. I will be hidden from your presence. I will be restless, a restless wanderer on the earth. This is like the NIV or something. Because you know, what I mean, this isn't how the King James responds or sounds or is worded. Yahweh responded, not so. If anyone kills Cain, he will suffer vengeance. And that's showing you how the Most High has this man in a position, because the Most High, it's going to take the Most High to bring him down. Because the Most High set a mark on him. That's why, like I say, Esau could shoot Jake left and right, but you do anything to eat him. I think it was, no, I think that little boy killed his own family member. I remember his 2 little kids. But I think he was wrestling. He was playing wrestling. I think he was like 7 years old. And he tried to do one of the moves that he seen on wrestling on his little sister and killed her, though. But I was about to say that. But point being, it's a scripture to say that they're not in trouble like as other men. You know what I mean? Like back in the 80s when you had the crack epidemic, you had Jake going to jail for years for being really strung out and fucked up on crack. But today you got all these Edomites strung out and fucked up on heroin, but instead of them going to do prison sentences or time, they putting them in treatments, knowing that the likelihood of I've been to jail in this truth more than I've been in the jail in the world, and a lot of it's probably from poor decisions, but I like to believe because just how certain things played out, that certain things because at the end of the day, the Most High, it's the will of the Most High how things play out and what you go through. It's not your will, it's the Most High. And at the end of the day, I've seen people that talk about this the third time they going back to a program. These Edomites. So you know what I mean. At the end of the day, the Most High put a mark on him to preserve him from because he's not going to be in trouble as other men until the Most High come and judge him. That's why the scriptures talk about vengeance is of the Lord, wait upon me, roughly paraphrased. But then the Lord put a mark on Cain so that no one found him would kill him. So it says, the nature of the mark on Cain has been the subject of much debate and speculation. This is the point, is what I want. The Hebrew word translated mark is awaf and refers to a mark, sign, or token. Elsewhere in the Hebrew scriptures, awath is used 79 times and is most frequently translated as a sign. So when you go into the mark in the book of Revelations, chapter 13, and all receive a mark, that's damn. Bear with me for a second. Salaki, I don't even know how that just happened. I completely forget how. I don't know how I forgot the word karagma. We use it so often. I bring out a lot of MOB videos. Salakia for that, but it's karagma. So, which means a stamp, an imprint, or an incision. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be a physical thing. You know what I mean? As opposed to in Genesis where it says. Genesis, where it says, I don't know why this keep doing this. A waf.
Strong's H226. Oath.
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 So it says sign, signal, a distinguishing mark. And a distinguishing mark would be, it says remembrance. I told you, karagma is actually a physical device. It means to incision or and then I forgot the other word that goes with it, but it's like I forgot what it start with a C too. But the point being because they reference it like that snake bite. You know what I mean? It's like to impale. But like I said, this oath is a remembrance, a miraculous sign, a omen, a warning, a token, proof. So like I said, the Most High actually, it was a physical thing as well, but it wasn't an incision or something that you're going to have to take physically to actually be able, because like I said, Revelations 13 talks about how you actually will be able to buy or sell, won't be able to buy or sell without this physical mark. This was something to be seen, to be known, to be remembered, so some people will be aware. You get what I'm saying? But I got a little bit more in this article, and then I'm going to bring out the few scriptures. It says, some purpose that the mark was a scar. Some propose that the mark was a scar or some kind of tattoo. Whatever the case, the precise nature of the mark is not focused on the passage. And that's bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, at the end of the day, you got Edomites and people that don't appear like Jake. You got Edomite scholars that know that the mark is a physical mark. That's why you have information that the elders are actually used to prove that, you know what I mean? Like the elder said, I forgot what book he used to always bring out, but the late great planet Earth. But I think that made mention of the mark as well, meaning the RFID. It says the focus is that Yahweh would not allow people to exact vengeance against Cain, because at the end of the day, the vengeance was going to be ultimately on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. You know what I mean? That's why, again, Scripture talks about wait upon the Lord. You know what I mean? I will recompense. Now, this is what I wanted to show, because at the end of the day, you had the Mormons that had this belief system, and they don't go into whom, but to show you how full of shit and how hypocritical these fucking devils is. I'm going to read this, and then I'll say my 2 cents, and then I'm going to bring out the articles. It says, in the past, many believed the mark on Cain to be dark skin, that Yahweh changed the color of Cain's skin to black in order to identify him. Since Cain also received a curse, the belief that the mark was black skin caused many to believe that the people of dark skin were cursed. Many used the mark of Cain teaching as a justification for the African slave trade and discrimination against people with dark skin. So that's my point I wanted to get, because at the end of the day, now, when we say that, these Edomites, these red Hebrew Edomites are cursed, that's frowned upon. That's evil. That's wicked. But then, you had a belief system for them to justify, and it was justified because it was all ultimately the plan of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua for us going off. That's why we went in under hardcore bondage or went into slavery. But, it's okay to justify with them. But when we say these red devils are cursed with leprosy, oh, that's wicked. You know what I mean? But I'm about to show you something real quick. Because in the book of Exodus chapter 3, verse 7, because I just showed you, basically how, you had Cain and Abel, which were brothers. And, literally, Cain and Abel, Cain slew Abel. And then Abel came back through the spirit of Seth. And I believe that's correct. But then you also had it, because everything reincarnates. You had, Cain come back in the form of Esau, and and Abel or Seth come back in the reincarnation as Jacob. So and then it's so spiritual, because when you go into Esau was renamed Edom and Jacob was renamed Israel. But proving to you something. This is the book of Exodus chapter 3 verse. Hold on. Bear with me. Okay, I had the wrong chapter. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 4, and verse. I'm gonna try and get to the point, but give you some context. I'm gonna start at verse 4, and this is when basically Yahweh was basically making himself known to Moses and showing him his power. So he turned to and the Lord said unto him, "What is that in thine hand?" And he said, "A rod." So that's when he turned the rod into a serpent and whatnot. It says, "And the Lord Yahweh said unto Moses, Put forth thine hand and take it by the tail, and put forth his hand and caught it, and became a rod in his hand." So this is when the Most High showing Moses his power. He turned the rod or the staff that was in his hand into a serpent, and then told him to grab it and turned it back into a rod. Verse 5, that they may believe that the Lord Yahweh, power of their fathers, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob hath appeared unto thee. Verse 6, and the Lord Yahweh said furthermore unto him, Put now thine hand into thy bosom. So he told him to put his hand into like his shirt or his garment, Put now thy hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was as leprous as snow. So let's go into this. Leprous. To be diseased of skin, be leprous. So you had clean leopards and you had unclean leopards. But I want to get this last one. Snow. It's clear cut. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get the word. Shalig.
Strong's 87950. Shaleg.
Shalag. And it's snow. Now, we all know what snow look like. It says snowy snow. Whiteness. Whiteness. So at the end of the day, his hand obviously was a different color prior to him being told by the Most High Yahweh to put it inside his bosom. Inside of his garment. You know what I mean? I guess near his stomach, I want to say. But no matter, he had to put it within inside his garment. It was one color when he put it in there, and it was another color when he pulled it out. So it's funny that these devils, like I said, had a train of thought and a thinking that, Jacob, the true Israelites, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, they were cursed because of having melanin. When actuality, like I say, Moses had melanin. Yahweh Shah had melanin. That's why they actually was told to flee into Egypt, where most of the people in Egypt, even if some of them are Ottoman Turks, have more melanin than these fucking Edomites. And that go and make me think about the scriptures like Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20, where it talks about woe to them that call evil good and good evil. These devils, like I said, actually promoting this fucking albinism. They made her a model because they showing you, when you control public thought, that's the whole purpose of Facebook and shit like that, for real. It controls public opinion. They actually, I don't have a Facebook. I've had one, but what people don't realize is that dude that owns that, he allows the government to filter through information. So anybody that's on there talking about the vaccine or any little thing or the government, you're being watched. It's a whole little documentary that I suggest people to go check into. It's called The Social Experiment, and it goes into Facebook. It's articles about that. Like when you really go and research it, Facebook was actually government sponsored. That's why they say that shit. Anyhow, so I'm about to bring out a few scriptures that I got. It made me think about Isaiah 29:16 about the that's the spirit. It says Biden said it's a tough call to mandate the COVID vaccine. Anyhow, oh man, Lord funny. This book of Leviticus chapter 13 verse 1, because this is the law about leprosy. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, when a man shall have in the skin of his flesh a rising, a scab, or a bright spot, and it be in the skin of his flesh like the plague of leprosy, then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest, or unto one of his sons the priest. Because the first priesthood was Aaron and his sons. You know, they was all Levites. You know, well, Moses is a Levite, but the point being that was the first priesthood. But I ain't gonna go too deep. I'm just gonna leave it at that. And the priest shall look on the plague in the skin of the flesh, and when the hair in the plague is turned white, and the plague in the sight be deeper than the skin of his flesh, it is a plague of leprosy, and the priest shall look on him and pronounce him unclean. If the bright spot be white in the skin of his flesh, and in sight be not deeper than the skin, and the hair thereof be not turned white, then the priest shall shut up him that hath the plague 7 days. Because at the end of the day, you know, like I say, that's showing that you may have it or may not. And then after the seventh day, it says, and the priest shall look on him in the seventh day, and behold, if the plague in the sight be at a stay, and the plague spread not in the skin, then the priest shall shut him up 7 more days. Verse 6, and the priest shall look on him again the seventh day, and behold, if the plague be somewhat dark. So if it turned light and it's still staying light and not doing that, then you're supposed to keep on being put away. And the priest continues to check on you. But then if it starts turning back to dark, or your melanin starts covering it up, then I'm gonna read, and the priest shall look on him again the seventh day, and behold, if the plague be somewhat dark, and the plague spread not on the skin, the priest shall pronounce him clean. It is but a scab, because you know what I mean. It's just a scab. But like I say, when it's leprosy and it's spreading, you at one point like an unclean leper could spread that. But then, like I said, you got Esau, which is literally basically a clean leper, because he's plagued with he doesn't have melanin, but his spirit is unclean. You know, and it made me think about what's the guy name that Elisha had cursed, because you had the soldier Naaman, and Naaman suffered from leprosy, and I think I can't think of the one guy name, but he was like he was like a helper. He was like how Baruch was to Jeremiah. He was like a helper to Elisha, and basically he was doing something corrupt. I ain't about to go find the account, but basically he was doing something corrupt, and Elisha basically cursed him with the leprosy that Naaman had. He was doing something to Naaman. I think he like some kind of way. I think he was trying to steal something, or he did something that was like off. So Elisha cursed him with leprosy, and not only was the man cursed, and he was an Israelite. Not only was he cursed, but his bloodline, his whole bloodline was cursed. So that's how Esau is. His whole bloodline is cursed. And it made me want to go get the account. Bear with me for a second. This is the guy Gehazi, a servant of the prophet Elisha. Gehazi enjoyed a position of power, but was ultimately corrupt, misusing his authority to cheat Naaman the Syrian, a general afflicted with leprosy. As punishment, Elisha cursed Gehazi, transferring Naaman's leprosy to him and his descendants forever. Because at the end of the day, he was spiritually not right. And that's how these Edomites are. And then you got all other accounts in the scriptures about individuals being um, basically cursed with leprosy. Maybe not for as long as some. Esau just that's why when you go into Obadiah, it talks about how their punishment is they're gonna be burnt up, they're gonna be destroyed, because it tells you the Most High literally gonna have war with Amalek forever. Roughly paraphrased. He gonna basically is always gonna be at war with Amalek, because Amalek, when you look at some of the things that Esau, Edom, and Amalek, when you go into Esau, Edom, and Amalek, and how I forgot. I think like Amalek is like one of the great grandsons of Esau or something like that. And then we go into Amalek is another name for these fucking Khazarian, these fake Jewish people. But I'll give a couple more accounts. Uh, um, well, that's the point. I might get the count about Miriam. So this is a account, and Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. And they said, hath the Lord indeed spoken only by Moses? Hath he not spoken also by us? And the Lord heard it. Now the man Moses was very meek above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. And the Lord Yahweh spake suddenly unto Moses and unto Aaron and unto Miriam, come out ye dear. Salakia, come out ye three unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out. Verse 5, and the Lord Yahweh came down in the pillar of the cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. Verse 6, and he said, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord Yahweh, will make myself known unto him in a vision and will speak unto him in a dream. Verse 7, my servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in my, Salakia, my servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all my house. Verse 8, with him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently. So, that's that pride too, you know what I mean? Because, and we all, that's why it's so important to be humble in this thing for real. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, I see, because brothers, they do a lot of studying, brothers' knowledge. Like the average Jake or Edomite, I've seen it. You'll have these Edomites that think because they, got a job in corporate America and, you know what I mean, that we looking like dumbass niggas to them, and they thinking that they so fucking evolved. I remember one time I was going back and forth with an Edomite. This motherfucker was sitting up there talking about, yeah, that's why, the Roman general, who he say? I think he said Caesar was fucking Cleopatra. And I looked at the nigga like, okay, I'm like, to show you how stupid he was. I was like, well, Cleopatra's a hunky bitch. She's an Edomite. You know what I mean? And he shut up. He looked, he didn't know that. You know what I mean? As proud of, any. That's why Scripture talk about knowledge puffeth up. You know what I mean? And that's what, again, like I say, how important it is to be humble in this thing, because the Lord, like I said, humble you quick. Just, I mean, it's some people that can't take a, what I mean? Like, I never was the type that was can't take an ass whooping or a beating. I gotta go kill up the world or whatnot. You know what I mean? Yeah. And may the Lord, I pray, keep me that humble at least. With him will I speak mouth to mouth. So you have Aaron and Miriam, his sister, basically get proud because they was around and they felt that the Lord was dealing with them. But in actuality, the Lord was really dealing with Moses. That's why I made that statement. He said, now the man Moses was very meek, verse 3, and now the man Moses was very meek above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. You know what I mean? Because that's why it talks about the Most High is dealing with a lowly contrite, meaning humble, meaning obedient. And scriptures talk about what's the whole duty of man, to fear the Most High and to follow his laws, statutes, and commandments. You know what I mean? So, the Lord ain't dealing with everybody like, you know what I mean? Like, he's dealing with a certain kind of spirit. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, to lead, you gotta follow sometimes, you know what I mean? And we have a leader, you know what I mean? Our big brother, Yahweh Shai Mashiach. It says, with him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. And the similitude of the Lord Yahweh shall he behold. Wherefore then were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? So the Most High got lightweight angry because they basically bucked up to the Most High. I mean, Salakia, to Moses, his servant. And you know what? I've seen in the camps, literally, that's why you got a lot of people bug out and fall out and all that, because they buck up to the elders, apostles, they buck up to men that's in a certain position. And it's a deep cut too, because when you think about it, like literally, it's not for you to praise yourself or to say who somebody is or is going off. It's the Most High is going to expose everything regardless. You know what I mean? Like, and I've seen that being in this truth as well. Like I said, I told you, I've been in this thing by myself and I've been in this thing in the camp. And I've learned things from both sides, you know what I mean? It's good to be by yourself at times. I mean, Yahweh Shai even needed that. And, it's good to do this work with a group of brothers, because nobody's going to understand what you're going through or even have an inkling of an understanding, you know what I mean? Except for somebody else that's doing it. Yeah, a woman that you with ain't going to completely relate to it. She could be your comfort. And then you got brothers that don't even have that. You know what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, that's why it's called a brotherhood. But, not to digress, Salakia, It says, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against them, and he departed. Because at the end of the day, they bucked up to Moses, so the Lord got upset. You know what I mean? So because it's a scripture that talks about that, about something roughly paraphrased about you know, when you come against the Most High servants. You know, I mean, it's like in there, but I can't think of the scripture off the top of my head. It says, verse 10, and the Lord departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. Verse 11, and Aaron said unto Moses, alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us wherein we have done foolishly and wherein we have sinned. Now, mind you, it said it just, Miriam, his sister, was affected by her leprosy. But Aaron saw it, you know what I mean? Like, and it was all based on them bucking up. Let her not be as one dead of whom the flesh is half consumed when he come out of his mother's womb. Verse 13, and Moses cried unto the Lord, Yahweh, saying, heal her now, O power, I beseech thee. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Moses, if her father had but spit in her face, should she not be ashamed 7 days? Let her be shut out from the camp 7 days, and after that, let her be received in again. So the Lord basically chastised her for bucking up. And like I said again, like I mean, I've been in the camp for a number of years now. I'm a babe in this thing, but we know the different stories of men that was considered great in Israel at one point that literally bugged out, or what I mean. And, trust me, with the amount of pressure that the Most High could put on you, yeah, I can understand how people bug out. But at the same time, it's also based on where your mindset is, and how prideful you are. You know what I mean? Like in scriptures, in the word that talk about being chastised, being afflicted. It talks about if our Lord and Savior suffered, the servant is not greater than the master. So at the end of the day, these things shall. I mean, that's part of this doctrine and ministry. You're gonna be afflicted, and with what's coming, it's better to be afflicted now, so you can be built up for some of this. Because, like I said, I mean, the way I see it, and you know what I mean, like it. I just was listening to some actual news reports, and through the Spirit, the Lord gave me something, and then I'm watching other brothers come with the same videos. Like this summer, that's when a lot of this shit gonna heat up. They already talking about gas and food going up now. You know what I mean? And you can see it inch by inch gradually, but wait till it really, like in a month, just because something $5. Put it like this: we was in Chicago in March. It's going on May. It was 360. The gas was 360 in March. Now it's going on May, and the gas, brothers is already saying the gas at 5. So by July, especially when more and more people gonna be traveling more because they open all this shit up. I was just listening to the brother from Men of Valor, but Quorum Off. He said, don't fall for the, what is that? 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, talking about when people say peace and safety, then sudden destruction shall come upon them. Roughly paraphrased, like that's what's going to be the case. That's why it always talks about, being on your watch. You know what I mean? Like being circumspect, to be watching the signs and the tokens. So that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? I could have got more accounts about the leprosy, but you proved my point. And, I proved my point pretty much. And then the point is, at the end of the day, Yahushua Hamashiach literally was actually healing leopards. You know what I mean? But, Esau, that clean leopard, is is cursed with leprosy. And like I said, at the end of the day, his judgment, is going to be, destruction, for a multitude of things, for being a wicked, for what he's done to his brother, Jacob, pursuing him with the sword and whatnot. I mean, we can pursue with the sword right now. In this day and age, I'm watching it. You know how many people, and I'm what you would consider a so-called black man. I was just thinking, like, the Lord put me in a situation, and, I don't like being in this situation, but I'm going to say something. I had to really rethink, because I'm like, damn, Lord, what do I do? But then I was telling the brother, I was like, man, you know what, though? I'm kind of grateful, because at the end of the day, if it wouldn't have happened the way that it did happen, it would have happened another way, and the other way, I'd probably be on the news or something. Because, like I say, at the end of the day, I'm up there arguing with them then, like, this shit, hold on, I ain't got no warrants or nothing like that. So just imagine, on a late night, we go through things every day, but that's what, again, is so much more important to, not much more important. I mean, you're supposed to be living the scriptures, not just reading them, you know what I mean? That's what make a person wise, not to just read something and know it, is to apply it. You get what I'm saying? You could know how to make $1 million, but if you don't apply the system to make the, you know what I mean? Like, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, that's just, you know what I mean? Like, real talk. So, I'm gonna end the lesson with that. Lord willingly was edified. If you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, Western Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, or be destroyed. And with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to call Loyam, La Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Chakodas Bakatham. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and sincerity, as well as risking their lives, as well as their freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwath and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is an edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land, Salaki. Shalom to the Israelites scattered abroad in the land of other nations, whom appear like the other nations, but subscribe to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Until next time, I'm able to come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom, and mawaf lababal. Shalom.